Good morning, welcome back to your final day of this training course you are on, BSBWHS211. I will start the morning off by just telling me a little bit about yourself, or maybe a funny story about yourself. I'll start with you, Billy.
I went to 3 clubs last night, and I went into the Hugo's, and I have no reception in there, so I can't go on Instagram Live for all my followers. And somebody was just up at Popeye.
It's Popeye.
It's Popeye, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The spinach man.
Yes, and he go like this.
Yeah.
So then I have to show my guns bigger.
Were they?
Yes. Yes, they're bigger. And then I left early because I just want a kebab, and then I go home.
There you go. Okay, great. Mia, little story, or tell us a bit more about yourself.
A little bit about myself. I have a lot of kids, so yes. So learning about health and safety, I can incorporate that in the home.
Yeah.
As well.
Cartel?
I'm a bit of a fisherman. I went out just the other week.
Yeah.
Wasn't the smartest idea for me to wear shoes that didn't have a lot of grip, and I realised I could actually incorporate health and safety into this as well, as I almost fell in the water.
That's great. Glad you did.
Can you swim?
What was that?
Can you swim?
Barely.
Really?
That's
So do you think that learning how to swim might be a way to improve your health and safety around the water?
Yeah, especially if I want to become a diver.
life jacket?
Yeah. Ryan?
Nothing interesting really. My 10-month-old son just got his first passport.
Yep.
So got his baby photos done the other day. Now getting that process. So lucky for him, he'll have a very cute passport. Unlike some of us having kid photos and not being that cute.
Yep. That's great. Okay, so today we're going to be going into session 3. So session 3 is going to involve identifying and responding to and reporting incidents and injuries. So report health and safety concerns. If you are concerned about health and safety and security of yourself or a co-worker, you must talk to your employer, supervisor or health and safety representative as soon as possible. Your employer is legally required to respond to your complaint. Health and safety concerns can include faulty equipment, unsafe work practices, slippery falls, lack of PPE, lack of training, or workplace bullying. So over the last 2 sessions we've spoken about identifying hazards, controlling risks. So using some of those scenarios, what could you identify as some unsafe work practices in concerns of your workplace? So we've got slippery floors, lack of PPE, lack of training, or workplace bullying.
I could see faulty equipment being one. We do. I do work with computers and lots of electrical cords around.
Yep. So, here's a little scenario that we've got here up on the screen. So Hayley is new on the job in the office. She was told to use an electric guillotine, a paper cutter. She hadn't been trained how to use it, but she felt she couldn't say no. It started to go fast for her, but she didn't know where the emergency cutter switch was. The machine cut the tip of her finger as the machine guard was not attached. So how do you think the incident could have been prevented?
Maybe we said training.
Proper training is one.
I also think that she could have said no before.
She could have said no. She's got the right to demand a safe work environment.
The guard could have been attached.
Guarding could have been attached.
She could have had someone with her to help her.
If you think about the scenario, and we're looking at the concerns that we have with the machine, would someone with her, if she was still going to use that machine, would that have stopped her from getting tip of her finger cut off?
No.
So we're looking at things like not being trained. She didn't feel she could say no, and there wasn't any guarding in place. So was that, if we look at our last couple of sessions, was that having a safe working environment for her?
No.
Did she have the proper control measures in place?
No.
Did she identify the risks?
No, she didn't.
She didn't
She didn't
identify
have
the
the
risks.
training.
She didn't have the training, but did she identify, it doesn't say, did she identify that the guard wasn't on there?
No.
So she hasn't identified the hazard and the risk that was involved in using that machine without that guard on. Emergency situations. An emergency is an event that you don't know if it's going to happen, is a dangerous situation, threatens the health and the safety of property or people, needs urgent attention for you to bring it under control. In most hospitality workplaces, it is not only the workers who are affected, there are usually guests or visitors involved. So we spoke about that again in the previous couple of sessions about customers, reps, delivery drivers. So they can all be involved in that emergency as it happens. So your workplace should have an emergency procedure which tells you, tells everyone what to do. This is often called an emergency plan. It should tell you your immediate actions to take. So if we look at that scenario on the previous slide, she's cut the tip of her finger off. So what is our immediate action?
To make sure we are stopping the blood.
Stopping the blood. Are we leaving that machine running?
No.
So we're turning the machine off. So we are isolating that machine.
I don't understand. So, if someone was to collapse and they go into shock or something, what happens if you're the only person there but you don't know how to perform CPR properly?
So what would you, who do you think could help you in a situation like that? So do you have a mobile phone in your pocket?
Yeah.
Who do you think you could contact to help you?
I guess the managers or 000.
000. So you've got no one there, you could call 000. Call emergency services, ask for an ambulance because it's a medical emergency that you're requiring attention to. And often those people on the end of the phone will talk you through and guide you through what you need to do next. So that covers who to call and raise the alarm to. All right. So in your scenario, you're saying you've got no one there. First thing you would do is call that emergency line. They can then give you instructions of how to deal with that casualty. How to notify emergency services. So again, we're touching on what we've just spoken about with you. In your situation, you've got no one to call of what you described. So your first port of call there would be to call the emergency services. They will guide you through how to deal with that casualty you've got. How, when, and where to evacuate to. So at the start of this training course, what did we speak about?
Muster point.
We spoke about the muster point.
Emergency exit.
Emergency exits. Alright? Those kind of things should be covered in your emergency plan. They should be covered in your induction process as well. So when you first come to start at a company, they'll put you through an induction. They'll go through this procedure with you. The procedure will state X, Y, and Z. This is what needs to happen in an emergency. Names of people responsible for making decisions during an emergency. So what kind of people do you have in the workplace that make decisions about emergencies? Let's say you had a fire in the office.
A fire warden.
You've got things like fire wardens.
The first aid.
Wouldn't there be
You got first aid officers, correct?
No, she said what I was going to say.
Also supervisors and
Yeah.
managers.
Supervisors and managers. Alright? They'll make decisions about what happens next. Okay, we spoke about your sign-on register earlier on in the sessions. So you've got visitors that come to the building. So your fire warden will be responsible for making sure that everybody has evacuated that building safely. If the building's on fire, you wouldn't go in. But what might you do with that sign-on register once emergency services arrive?
Notify them of who may be on the sign-on sheet and may not be accounted for.
That's
Who's-
correct.
Who's not at the muster point?
So you're looking for who's not at the muster point, so it could be the guests that have signed in but haven't signed out. Now that may happen, people may come in and sign in, they've left but they haven't signed out. You still need to make sure that you've identified that they've signed in and haven't signed out. So how could we make sure that they've signed in, haven't signed out, but how can we make sure that they are safe?
You would have a mobile phone section on the registry.
Mobile phone section on the registry, that's correct. So notifiable incidents. So we spoke about notifiable incidents at the start of this training session. We spoke about that under the PCBU. So if the incident is notifiable, you must also inform your supervisor or health and safety representative. The notifiable incidents that result in the death of a person, whether an employee, contractor, or a member of the public. So anybody that comes into your establishment, you have a duty of care of. Okay? So they must be notified to the regulator. Any serious injury or illness. So what could a serious illness be?
Someone could be exposed to a chemical or something causing lung.
So you've got someone who's been exposed to a chemical at your workplace. Alright? A dangerous incident that exposes a person to a serious risk, even if no one is injured. So you've got chemicals,
Something falling in the yard, in the
something
warehouse.
falling in the yard,
Noise.
could possibly be. So if you had an awning at the front of your establishment and that awning fell and a wall collapsed, would you notify the regulator of that? Yep. That could be deemed a dangerous incident that exposes any person to a serious risk, even if no one's injured. So the work health and safety legislation requires a person conducting a business or undertaking, which is a PCBU for short, to report a notifiable incident arising out of the conduct of the business or undertaking to the regulator. This must be done immediately. After becoming aware of it happening, and by the fastest possible means. So it needs to be provided in written notification of the incident, and it must be done within 48 hours. A request by the regulator to do so and preserve the incident site until an inspector arrives or directs otherwise, subject to some expectations. So why do you think it's important there that we preserve the incident site until the inspector or the director arrives?
Let's just say it could happen again. Let's say there's
Could happen
a
again.
chemical spill.
Yeah.
That needs to be cleaned up professionally.
Unsafe.
Could be unsafe. Think about the inspector and the regulator arriving on site. Why do you think they want you to preserve that scene?
To
So that way it's
investigate on how it was caused.
Investigate. Alright, when we're talking about preserving the incident, we're preserving the incident because we don't want any evidence to be removed from that site. Alright? We're also preserving the incident and securing the scene. Securing the scene is another big one. We want to secure the scene so that people can't come into that hazardous area where the chemical spilled, or they can't introduce evidence into that scene.
So, where it says, provide written notification, or, so when I was doing, retail, we were just told to just go to our supervisors and, like, verbal, nothing was written down. Like, do we have to,
So this
does
is
it have to be done?
this is specifically talking about notifying the regulator. Okay, so notifying the regulator in written form
Yep.
must be done within that 48 hours. It must be a written report that is filed to the regulator,
So not just verbal.
not just a verbal. So, if you look down at the bottom final dot point there, failing to report a notifiable incident or preserve the site of a notifiable incident are offences and penalties may apply. Okay? So that's a big one for PCBUs. If the supervisors, project managers, the CEO, an officer is unsure what a notifiable incident is, where can they find that information?
On the website, given session 1.
On the website given in session 1. Alright? So WorkSafe has an expansive web page. It'll give you the acts, the legislation, the regulations. It'll also give you detailed information of how to make that notification to the regulator. Responding to an incident. So your immediate response to an incident is to ensure the safety of yourself. Alright, so this could be shutting down the computers, extinguishing flames. So in the incident we spoke about where she's chopped off the tip of her finger, we would need to shut that guillotine down. So providing first aid. So we want to assess the casualty and provide first aid accordingly. So if she's chopped the tip of her finger off, what kind of first aid are we looking to provide?
Stop the bleeding.
What to stop the bleeding?
You also want to make sure she's got her hand in an upright position.
Yeah. What are some of the things people can go through after having a traumatic experience?
Shock.
They can go into shock. Do you think they'll be calm? So we want to try and calm them down in that situation as well. We want to notify your supervisor of the incident. So call your supervisor and notify them immediately. Okay, why is it important that we notify the supervisor of what's going on?
So that they're in the loop.
So that they're aware of what's going on. Okay?
Do you think if the situation, I feel like responding to this person requires, professional help like 000 first maybe, then to call 000 first?
Yep, if you feel that there is a life-threatening injury, by all means, make those calls to someone who's more qualified to deal with that injury than you are, and then notify your supervisor. So we want to control the area in the situation. So we spoke about securing the scene so that no one can enter that area and evidence cannot be removed or introduced. Okay, that's very important, especially if it turns out to be a notifiable incident. When the regulator or the inspector comes to have a look at those incidents, they're going to conduct an investigation. So it's critical that no one's taken any evidence away and no one's introduced any evidence. We're going to look at reporting the incident. So you need to complete an incident report. So obtain an incident report form and ensure you complete it with as much information as possible. Why do we say as much information as possible?
So that no details are left out.
Yeah,
In some cases it can be used for insurance purposes.
insurance purposes.
Work cover, you
Yeah.
don't want all the information.
Yep,
Helps with investigation.
helps with the investigation.
some people can't recall what may happen, but if they do an incident report that day, or if they can't the next day,
Yep.
then you would think it would be fresh in their mind.
So we're going to document any evidence. So if you look on the screen there, documenting evidence. We've got photos, we've got other colleagues, witnesses, and they will then write their own witness statements. Submitting reports in a timely manner. It's important to submit reports in a timely manner so investigations can be conducted and any learnings and controls can be implemented. So, do you think it's a timely manner to report an incident in a week?
No.
6 days? 4 days? How soon do you think you'd need to get your incident report in?
I would think by the end of the shift, by the time you go home.
You want to try and get that incident report done within that 24 hours. Alright? And while we say get it in a timely manner, and while we say 24 hours, we're looking at that time span that's passed. Alright? We're looking at the incident staying fresh in your mind and you being able to capture as much evidence and information as possible. We also say in a timely manner because we don't want you to let other people alter what you think you have seen. So you may then go to the pub with everybody after work, can't believe she cut her finger off. And then you go, oh well, she stuck her hand in it, but that's not actually what happened. She pulled the guarding away, but that's not actually what happened. But you know what you've seen. So report the incident, how you've seen it, in a timely manner. Because that information is going to be fresh, it's going to be fresh in your mind, you're able to retain it. If you let that time go on, you can be influenced by others, and you might forget certain things. So incident report form. All incidents that occur in the workplace must be documented. When completing an incident report form, you must ensure the document can easily be read by others. So if you don't have great writing skills, you can write in block letters. Use printing. Make sure you have provided all information to the best of your knowledge. This information will be used possibly by paramedics if the incident is severe. Could be used by the workplace to prevent the incident from occurring again. So it needs to be able to be understood. Alright, that's another key factor of writing these incident reports. So we're going to go through another group exercise here. So the incident here, Jenny has tripped over some cords on the floor and she's broken her leg. So I'll give you these incident report forms.
Jenny.
Alright, so let's start at the top of the page. Tell me what the first section says.
Incident site.
So incident site. So where is Jenny?
We're going to say
In the office.
She's in the office.
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, so it's in your own workplace here. What's the next bar down?
Specific location.
Specific location.
So she was in the office.
In the office? By her computer, maybe?
Yeah.
Yep. What's the next section down?
The date of the incident.
The date. And then?
The incident time.
Alright, those are all critical things you need to state on the incident report form. What's the next one down?
Incident reported by.
So that would be yourself. So you put your name in there.
Reported date.
Yep. What's the next one down?
Brief incident description.
So a brief incident description. So this is where we just want to know what's happened. We don't want to know the whole nuts and bolts of the incident just yet. So Jenny has tripped over some cords in the office and broken her leg. Alright, so just a brief description of it.
No names.
Why does it say no names?
Because you need to keep people's sensitive information, okay? These incident report forms could be viewed by many people within your organisation.
So would you just say a co-worker?
You could say a co-worker or an IP involved person.
Media action taken.
So what did you do? Describe what you done. Did you provide any first aid? Did you call a supervisor? Did you call for an ambulance? Those are the immediate actions that you would have taken. What's the next bar down?
Witnesses.
Witnesses. Did anybody see this? Or was it just yourself? Did Carzell see this with you? Those are the kind of things you're looking at. What's the next one down?
Actual outcome.
So what was the outcome of the incident?
She broke her.
She broke her leg.
Personal injury
Yep.
to an employee.
So tick that personal injury. What's the next one down?
Impact/consequence.
So what's the impact of that injury?
That her leg is now broken.
It's a serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
Next one down.
Injured persons.
Main contact.
Alright, so if we flip over that page. So now we've got a diagram. Showing a diagram of a body there. So you've got front and back of the body. So she's broken her right leg. What are we going to say? It's broken down by her ankle. What would you do?
Can I circle it?
Circle it where she's had the injury. And then in the last box there, we're going to give a brief description, not a brief, sorry, we're going to give a detailed description of what you saw of the incident, what you did to provide first aid, calling an ambulance if you did so, securing a scene, what time it happened, what time the ambulance arrived, what time you reported it to your supervisor. And then we're going to sign off that incident report with your name at the bottom. All done? Good. So identifying existing potential work health and safety hazards and reporting them. So physical hazards, trips and falls, chemical hazards, exposures to substances, biological hazards, bacteria or any viruses, ergonomic hazards, so like repetitive strain injuries sitting at the computer. Those are common ones for you guys in the office. Psychological hazards, so work-related stress, so timelines, deadlines, bullying, harassment in the workplace, environmental hazards like noise or pollution, extreme weather conditions. Reporting hazards to the designated person, immediate report to your supervisor or manager, work health and safety advisors, human resources department or health and safety reps. So, we've got another video here.
Now we've got a message on Facebook from Ian Clements, and he said, I love that cheating video. I reckon you guys can't read this story without laughing. So here we go again, guys. So this is an Australian bricklayer's accident report. So this bricklayer's accident report, which is apparently printed in the newsletter for Brickies Union after it came in. And if this is a true story, this bloke is 100% getting the Darwin Award, but it's amazing. So, reads, Dear Sir, I'm writing in response to your request for additional information in block 3 of the accident report form. I put poor planning as the cause of my accident. You asked for a fuller explanation, and so I trust the following details will be sufficient. I'm a bricklayer by trade. On the day of the accident, I was working alone on the roof of the new 6-story building. When I completed my work, I found that I had some bricks left over, which, when weighed later, were found to be slightly in excess of 250 kilos. Rather than carry the bricks down by hand, I decided to lower them in a barrel using a pulley, which was attached to the side of the building on the 6th floor. Securing the rope at ground level, I went up to the roof, swung slow descent of the bricks, you will note in block 11 of the exit report form that I weighed 70 kilos. Due to my surprise at being jerked off the ground so suddenly, I lost my presence of mind and forgot to let go of the rope. Needless to say, I proceeded at a rapid rate of knots up the side of the building. In the vicinity of the third floor, I met the barrel, which was now proceeding downwards at an equally impressive speed. This explained the fractured skull, minor abrasions, and the broken collarbone, as listed in section 3 of the accident report form. Slowed only slightly, I continued my rapid ascent, not stopping until the fingers of my right hand, two knuckles deep into the pulley. Fortunately, by this time I'd regained some presence of mind and I was able to hold on tightly to the rope in spite of beginning to experience pain because my knuckles were pulling. At approximately the same time, however, the barrel of bricks hit the ground and the bottom of the barrel fell out. Now to avoid the weight of bricks, the barrel weighed approximately 20 kg. I refer to you again to my weight, 70 kg. As you can imagine, I began a rapid descent down the side of the building. 6 stories. In the vicinity of the third floor, I met the barrel coming up. This accounts for the 2 fractured ankles, broken tooth, and several lacerations on my legs and lower body. Here my luck began to change slightly. The encounter with the barrel seemed to slow me enough to lessen my injuries when I fell into a pile of bricks. Unfortunately, only 3 vertebrae were cracked. I am sorry to report, however, as I lay there on the pile of bricks, in pain, unable to move, I again lost my composure and presence of mind and let go of the rope. And lay there watching the empty barrel begin its journey back down towards me and then eventually on top of me. And this explains the 2 broken legs. I hope this answers your inquiry. Oh, that poor Brett.
If someone was able to animate that, that's great viewing. Oh, mate.
So that's why we talk about the importance of providing as much information as possible. So obviously their health and safety team needed some more information, and as you can hear in that video, it was quite explicit in what he had described in the new incident report form. That is the end of session 3. I'd like to thank you all for being here over the last couple of days. If I could just get you guys to fill out an evaluation form, this just lets my employer know what you think about the course, how we've performed.
I have a question.
You have a question?
Will there be any exam on this course later on?
Yep, so we have provided you links to go and complete the online quiz. So within the next couple of days, please log on. We provided you with the link at the bottom of those sheets there. Please log on and complete your quiz, and you will be marked on that quiz. Okay, all done? Alright, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the course, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.